Aloha, aloha, mahaikai from West Papua. That's a mahaikai is a Melanesian traditional language. That's a greetings from my tribe language in Yapen Island, West Melanesia, West Papua Melanesia. Aloha, of course, here in Hawaii because we've been here for a few days to attending the Pacific Culture and Arts Festival. Today I'm like to talking about what's happening in my country. Yeah, my name is Herman Wainggai. I'm one of the West Papuan Melanesian leader. So I'm here representing my people struggle and my people story, my people voice as a United Nations Liberation Movement representative, uh, head of the United Liberation Movement for West Papua mission here in US, but also yeah, Canada and Caribbean. So I'm officially representing the United Liberation Movement for West Papua. But of course, I'm the former political prisoner of the West Papua. That place, that country is still colonized by the Indonesian government. So this is my short introduction. So I will talk more about what's happening in West Papua and why I left my country, come to the U.S. Aloha. Some of you maybe still don't know, or maybe already know because of the ongoing political situation in my country in West Papua. West Papua is a Melanesian nation, is part of the Pacific region. West Papuan people, yeah, we are Melanesian. It's separate from the Indonesian people. They are considered as ASEAN. We are Melanesian. Yeah. Pacific region is made up for three ethnicity, Polynesia, Micronesia, and Melanesia. So West Papua is a part of the Melanesian regions. But my people struggle, or West Papuan people, we've been struggle for so long because we've been colonized by the Indonesian government since 1963, according to the some of the international argument, international agreement that's facilitated or mediated by the U.S. government and the United Nations through the what they call the Rome Agreement and the New York Agreement. So the New York Agreement is basically it's happened during 1969. During the time that the UN give the full yeah, chance to Indonesian government to administer or to mediate what they call the act of free choice according to the election. Indonesian government they believe that they can conduct the proper election to ask the West Papuan people what they want. But what we learn from the history that based on the New York agreement, there should be happen like one man, one vote. Yeah, that's according to the New York agreement. But Indonesian government just choose only 1,025 people out of the 800,000 indigenous Melanesian during that time, and that's under the gunpoint. Indonesian elected 1,025. So that's why we learned that during the Act of Free Choice, or West Papua considered as a same referendum. There's a face injustice. It's not help my people of faith for their future. So that's why today we are still colonized by Indonesian government because of that election. The Indonesian government claimed that West Papuan people is part of the Indonesian government authority through the election that they created, and UN recognized that. But we learned, and I think UN also know that notice that injustice or the act of free choice, the act of free choice is not uh, it's not right. It's not right. It's not happen according to the article that regulated by the New York Agreement on 15 August 1969. However, they have another agreement they call the Rome Agreement. So the Rome Agreement is copied with the New York Agreement. So only 1 month later, and because of the Rome Agreement also give the chance to Indonesian government to making more development to prepare the indigenous people of Melanesian in West Papua to have their own freedom one day if they wanted. So that's why according to the Rome Agreement, Indonesian government just administer West Papuan land for only 25 years based on the Rome Agreement. The Rome Agreement is happened during that time in 1962 on September 30, 1962 between the Indonesian government and the Netherlands. So they have this agreement and mediated by the U.S. government. So they come up with the Rome Agreement. So let the West Papuans ruled by the Indonesian government for 25 years. So after 25 years, let the West Papuan people, they vote for what they want. They still wanted to be part of Indonesia, or West Papuan people wanted to be separate from the Indonesia. So this is a little bit, yes, background history that I mention now because myself, I argue this when I was involved in West Papuan struggle in 1989. So my first uh, experience um, involved in West Papuan struggle since 1989. That's 1 year later after the West Papuan people, we are declared like West Papua is Melanesian nation. It's a part of the Pacific region. So we are Melanesian. We are not the ASEAN. So according to the proclamation number 14 December 98, proclaimed by our leader, Dr. Tom Wainggai, is a American scholar, is indigenous West Papuan, but is a West Papuan Melanesian leader. Spent almost 25 years to prepare the West Papuan to be independent one day. So he written our own constitution, Melanesian constitution, and he also create the outline for the government system that we have one day to establish and separate from Indonesia. So Dr. Tom Wainggai established uh, West Papua country as a new nation, our country as a new born country in the Pacific one day, as a Republic of West Melanesia, uh, according to that proclamation on 14 December. So I was involved with the proclamation and organized West Papuan students activists because that time as I was like young, a young activist as a student activist. So working together with the other West Papuan students leader, and we organized the West Papuan students and West Papuan people to get involved with the celebration for the 1 year anniversary after the proclamation of 14 December 1988. So That time, yeah, many West Papuan people, because they recognize that we are Melanesian, we are different with the Indonesian, and we are West Papuan people. We have right to establish our country as a Melanesian government, as a Melanesian nation, as a uh, Melanesian country. So I involved with the movement during that time, and yeah, we organized a peaceful protest because that's something that we do believe about the non-violent struggle. And I learned as I learned about the other part of the successful movement, like we learned from the Gandhi non-violence movements happen in India, and also we learned from the Martin Luther King Jr., that's American civil rights movement here, and also we learned from the Nelson Mandela spends almost 27 years in prison. So that's why we learned from Dr. Tom Wainggai when first time he was arrested by the Indonesian government, and Indonesian government sentenced him for 20 years, spent time for 20 years. So after spend time in jail, the Indonesian government killed him when he was in Indonesian prisons. So he was killed by Indonesian authorities on March 12. So yeah, during that time, yeah, we West Papuan people we are feel sad because we lost Nelson Mandela of West Papua and Melanesia. All the news in Indonesia, they cover and they tell the story. The West Papuan people they lost the Nelson Mandela during that time. So yeah, but yeah, we fight like you already know that West Papuan people we never give up. We never give up. And myself, I never give up. Even though like today when I share my story today, I've been involved in West Papuan struggle movement. It's almost 34 years since 1989, and twice in Indonesian prison. So I have my own experience. So my first imprisonment in Indonesian prison in 2000 when we organized a peaceful protest within a university, and we were arrested. So I was arrested together with the other West Papuan leaders. So three of us, we were arrested by the Indonesian government because we celebrate our West Papuan nation on 14 December 1988. We celebrate in within Cendrawasih University. So we were arrested on 14 December in 2000. So that time I remember that it's not just myself, but with the other West Papuan leader, late Bapak Albert Kaliele and late brother Dodanik. There's two others and names that we spent time together in prison because Indonesian government arrested them, including my dad. My dear father, late Sadra Wainggai, he was arrested as well. So my dad and I, both of us also were arrested and spent time in Indonesian prison for almost 4 months. But yeah, that's the cost. There's a risk as a freedom fighter, as a West Papuan leader. Uh, we have to taking responsibility for our people struggle. So yeah, spending time in jail is something that's a is a great sacrifice for our people. But outside, we learn that our people they still fight because they do believe about their own struggle. It's not just like West Papuan struggle. It's not just only my struggle, but this is the my people's struggle. So when the people they continue fight, like Uskup, uh, what they call Bishop Bello, that's like in East Timor. He defending the East Timorese people to speak up about the truth. to speak up about the justice for towards the East Timorese. East Timorese, East Timor people, they're also colony by the Indonesian government. They got their independence through the referendum. So we learned that, okay, from the East Timorese struggle, they got the international recognition. How about us as a West Papuan people? We do believe that one day we can get our recognition, international recognition. So that's very important when we are attending this forum to tell the story, to share our story that our people struggle is still continue to against the colonization that's occupy our land. That's especially towards the Indonesian government. Because if Indonesian government say that they are supporting the Palestine, right? Palestine people to get their self-determination or independence. I about the West Papuan people in their own eyes. West Papuan people also have the similar right, like what we learned from the Palestine that Indonesian government supported. So this is the legal argument that Dr. Tong Wainggai, our leader, argued with the Indonesian government during the Indonesian court system when we face the judge, and I also faced similar situation when we were arrested, interrogated by the Indonesian authority, and then we went to the Indonesian court and argue about our international legal argument, argue about our people right in front of the Indonesian authority. This is our people right based on our non-violence resistance, based on our legal argument as West Papuan people, we are Melanesian. We have right to be independent, similar like Vanuatu, similar like Solomon Island, similar like Papua New Guinea, Fiji, uh, and also of course our brothers and sisters in Kanaki, they still fight for their own rights. So we are West Papuan people. We have our own rights. So when we're talking about the Pacific region, so like I already mentioned, the Pacific region is made up three continents, Melanesian, Polynesian, and Micronesia. West Papua is a part of the Melanesian nation. So that's my story when first time I was arrested together with my dad. And then the second time I was arrested also in 2020, no, in 2002. Uh, so after I attended the Pacific Island Forum in Fiji. So after I did lobbying uh, to Pacific Island Forum's country during the time they hosted in Suva in Fiji. So I attended the Pacific Island Forum with the other West Papuan delegation. So Indonesian government noticed that, I helped to facilitate the meeting in Fiji, and we hosted the international press conference, and then we call out to Pacific Island Forum to recognize the human rights crisis happening in West Papua. Human rights abuses is happening in West Papua. So at the time I remember that when we organized the international conference here, hosted by the Pacific uh, Resources Consent Center in Suva, Fiji. They hosted the international media release and they asked me to speak up about the current situation in West Papua at the time in 2002. So I explained to the Pacific Island Forum that human rights abuses, your brothers and sisters in West Papua, they face the Indonesian government atrocities that time in 2002. So if Pacific Islands Forum, the member of the Pacific Islands country, they continue to supporting Indonesian government through a diplomatic platform. That means you give him the green light to Pacific. The Pacific Islands Forum. You give him the green light to Indonesian government to continue to making or to killing the West Papuan people. And then that's something that I yeah, spoke up very strong that time in 2002. And then after I left the Fiji with the other West Papuan leader. We left the Fiji, go back to West Papua. I was arrested. Indonesian government waiting for me. in West Papua. So when we organized more protests, I was arrested. I remember I returned in November, November in 2002, when I returned to West Papua, and then another month, like only between November and December. So we organized protests after the Pacific Island Forum, and Indonesian government arrested me for the second time. So they arrested me for the second time, but yeah, similar argument based on our legal argument and according to the UN political and civil rights regulation that they always talking about a lot at the UN level for the political and civil rights, like regulate the political freedom that have to happen to the people. They are still fighting for their own freedom. So yeah, we continue. We argue with the Indonesian government. Okay, this is something that Indonesian government you cannot ignore about what's happening in West Papua. You have to recognize in our independent state. But yeah, we argue and then we were arrested and spent time in jail for 2 years. So for my second terms, when I was arrested, I spent time in Indonesian prison for 2 years. But yeah, when we stay in prison, I hear the story share that many West Papuan activists continue organize their protest, but they're being targeted by the Indonesian government. So the life for us as a West Papuan activist, as a West Papuan leader, yeah, is risk. That's why when I was in prison and some of my colleagues, maybe later on you can talk a little bit. You can listening direct to one of them, our West Papuan community leader that time, but because they also organized that how the West Papuan students they come to visit me when I was in prison. So this is like after 20 years, and then I met him again here in Hawaii. So that's like my story in 20 years ago. We reconnected with my colleagues and my friends that just traveled all the way from the West Papua. So they organized protests and West Papuan student activists. We yeah, call them as a Sona Mapa, West Papuan Students Union. That's a Sona Mapa. So they organized their peaceful protests. On many of the young West Papuan activists also was arrested and targeted, and Indonesian government interrogated them and then pull with the gunpoint. And but they continue fight even though Indonesian government released them, only interrogate them for a few hours and then they release them. So they told me that Herman, the news, like the information they got, like Herman, when you release out from the prison, your life is in danger. So you cannot live in West Papua or organize more protests. It's better you escape because if not, your life might be yes similar experience like what happened to my uncle, dear uncle, Dr. Tom Wainggai. He was killed when he was in prison. So the time I hear to my friends, colleagues, their advice, and they say, Herman, we are all targeted by the Indonesian government if we continue. So, okay, we can taking the risk here, but you are as a leader, you have to go to exile because it's important to bring the West Papuan struggle message, peaceful message, non-violent resistant message, freedom message, genocide message, bring to the international community, brought to the international community, tell the people in international community that human rights abuses, the genocide is happening in my country, in West Papua. So that's why when, after I released out from the prison, my dad is waiting for me because my dad, he made the West Papuan Melanesian traditional canoe. So we use the Melanesian traditional canoe cross the open ocean from the West Papua to the to Australia mainland. So if you read the 43 West Papua political refugees, we left our country in 2006, and we crossed the open ocean, almost died in the middle of the ocean, but I don't want to mention that. But the story is we left the West Papuan border, crossed the open ocean to Australia, create the diplomatic problem between the Indonesian government and Australian government. And Indonesian government withdrew the embassy from the Australian mainland, and we argue that from the Indonesian government president, the former president, Honorable Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, argue with the former Prime Minister of Australia, John Howard, and I'm in the middle. So we argue, and I'm talking about the why we left West Papua, asking for, I mean, demanding for the international recognition for the genocide, because we made the clear message in our Melanesian traditional canon. We made one banner, the message written on our canoe say, save West Papua from the genocide. So that's why Indonesian government he go mad about this, but yeah, this is part of the story, the truth. That's genocide. It's happening in West Papua. So after spend time in immigration detention center in Australia, and yeah, through the international pressure and support it come from the different non-government organization in Australia. Australian government finally recognized yeah, my people demand for the protection, international protection for 3 years. So I got the protection visa for 3 years when I was in Australia, and I was yeah, able to travel after 3 years with the Australian travel document. And that time in 2009, I got the few invitation come from the U.S. So I come to U.S. for the first time, attending one of the international conference. They're talking about the non-violence resistance. So they invited different leaders, non-violence leaders from the different countries. So I was one of them, and I come to U.S. attending that training workshop or conference they hosted uh, what they call in Massachusetts in Boston. So organized by International Center on Nonviolent Conflict. Uh, so after attending the meeting, and then yeah, George Mason University with couple professor there, they invited me to come to the George Mason University as a visiting scholar to yeah, give the lecture about what's happening in my people uh, country. So yeah, I'm happy come 2 years as a visiting scholar, and yeah, since then since 2002, 2000 since 2012, I come to U.S. as a visiting scholar, but also as a West Papuan leader. Continue to do more lobbying, uh, representing our people at the United Nations platform, but also do more lobbying to U.S. Congress. So this is also part of the my role now in exile. Uh,
Hello, uh, aloha. Uh, I'm happy. I'm happy Daimboa, my complete name. And uh, I'm from West Papua. Uh, Today, I came here for participate in FESTPAC uh, because uh, we are Melanesian and we part of Pacific. Uh, I think this FESTPAC we can talk and discuss about uh, all problem in our country. Uh, Maybe in your country, another country, the problem about climate change and about gender and about. But today, I want to say about human abuses in West Papua and also uh, deforestation and also Indonesian occupation uh, and uh, poverty occur in West Papua. You know, we have history very complete, very. Uh, but today, I think the biggest problem is about human abuses. Today, after Indonesian occupied West Papuan, thousands of people they already died by Indonesian military. Uh, they came from Indonesian and military came and they shoot them. That's why people go to jungle and I think it's happened in all of West Papuan. Many thousands of refugees in there because they're afraid to uh, shoot by Indonesian military and also they are victim of the violation of military in there. That's why I think this is the big problem. We should be talk to our brothers and sisters in Melanesia, in Polynesia, and Micronesia, and also some biggest country like America, New Zealand, and Australia. Must be respect the human right in there. I'm a chief also. Uh, Indonesian rape our land uh, because they arranging the biggest business in there. I think traditional people, uh, thousands of hectares of their land, it's lost by Indonesian program uh, to make the business, big business in West Papua. Today, uh, our culture is lost, and uh, Indonesian program to the population in West Papua, it's occurred in all West Papuan. Uh, in a statistic of demographic, in West Papuan people very low, and today Indonesian people they in a high level. Uh, I think this is a problem for indigenous people in there. Um, and every time, every minute, West Papuan people they die, and I think if some years in the future, maybe indigenous people they will lose or end in their homeland. That's why I think we need solidarity from our brothers and sisters in Pacific. Uh, in Melanesian, Polynesian, and Micronesian. Because this is, I think, if we can talk together, we can discuss together to find solution. I think we can. Uh, 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 I think maybe someday we can get the best solution to end of all the problem in our homeland. Uh, I think maybe that's that. Thank you.
In conclusion, for my story today, why we come here, because we would like to share our story as a West Papuan Melanesian, that West Papuan people is still struggle in our country. representing a West Papuan people here to tell the story. That's hope from my people back home. Like you already heard from my colleagues, one of the West Papuan uh, community organization leader in West Papua, representing the Melanesian tribe leader, Mr. Happy Daimboa. After 20 years, we last seen each other, but we met again here in Hawaii. So this is something that the Aloha spirit, Pacific spirit, when we listen to the different country story, when they give the testimony during the official opening at the University of Hawaii, they say we are small island, but we have big heart. That's the message that we are West Papuan people also we would like to bring to this blessed island, wonderful island, and get connected to our brothers and sisters here in the Pacific regions. Even though our land, my people struggle in our own country, West Papua is still close to the international community. Indonesian government doesn't allow the international humanitarian group like Amnesty International, International Red Cross, or Human Rights Watch to operate in West Papua. Indonesian government is still blocking all the international access. So West Papua land is still close to the international community. We've been calling, demanding to the United Nations to making pressure to the Indonesian government to please allow West Papua to the international community. The current president, the current president in the last term of Mr. or Honorable Jokowi, when first time he was elected 8 years ago, he promised to open up the West Papuan to the international community. But after 8 years, in the last his term as a president, the current president of Indonesia, West Papua is still close to the international community. So this is the the real political situation that West Papuan people we are faced. That's why when we are attending this meeting, yeah, we calling to our brothers and sisters in West Papua, yeah, during the official meeting, we, yeah, yelling very strong to the uh, all the audience that don't forget about the story, the struggle of West Papua, and yeah, we thanks God the Fijian government they mentioned about the West Papua, uh, the political situation that we have faced in our homeland. Even though Indonesian government uh, uh, closed the West Papuan land to the international community, but in our people experience, when I receive information as a West Papuan Human Rights Center here in US, we documenting a story that there is no freedom in West Papua. Freedom of assembly, we don't have it in West Papua. Our people, they don't have experience to have the freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. We don't have in West Papua. When people they organize peaceful protest or community gathering, including pray in their own language, Indonesian government doesn't allow our people as a Melanesian indigenous people when their country is belong to them, but they don't have the experience. So when we share our story here, when we share our story with our brothers, and we join our brothers and sisters in the Pacific region to celebrate the culture, arts, it challenge us. And but yeah, I do hope that through the international gathering here, through the Festival Pacific Culture and Art, people they learn about the current situation in West Papua, and join our people back home in West Papua to continue calling to the international community, calling to the United Nations, calling to the US government, calling to the Australian government, New Zealand government to supporting our people's struggle and asking to Indonesian government to please allow the UN High Commissioner to visit West Papua with their team. And also our presence here, we argue to the Pacific Islands Forum's leaders, Melanesian Spare Group leaders to consider United Liberation Movement West Papua application to be member. That West Papua is a part of the Melanesian. Uh, West Papua is a part of the Pacific brothers and sisters agenda. So we are not just talking about the cultures or arts, but we are also to recognize that human rights abuses is happening right now in West Papua, and West Papua is still close to the international community. Uh, Towards our friends and colleagues here in US, we already published our document, a legal argument about the best solution for the ongoing conflict in West Papua we call the Washington solution. So we're presenting the paper to the State Department to argue for the role of the US government in the Pacific. So we do hope that through our testimony, through our international solidarity, we can make a biggest change in West Papua, because this is something that we all get together as a Pacific Islanders. Thank you. Aloha, my guy. God bless.